Hey y'all, I'm Cal. Let's get busy.
Hi guys, welcome back. Today I have Travis Rhoden. Am I
Hi.
pronouncing that right?
Yeah.
Rhoden with me. Travis is 50% of the Bestie Approved podcast with his lovely friend Emma, his
Mhm.
bestie. So
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited. We
I
had a
am
really
too.
good conversation the first go round.
Yeah.
Made all kinds of notes. Went through. I got halfway through your podcasts,
Oh,
and
you
then I
got,
ran out of time.
was it the first half or the newest half?
The first half. So I
Okay,
started
so,
with baby onions. I got, and that's where
oh,
most
okay.
of my list of topics is coming from,
Okay.
and ruined engagements and Smurf hormones. And then, no,
Got
I got into what's the next one? Something, it's a song. Somebody stole my podcast name, and I have not listened to the song, and I am terrified to. I got halfway through that when I ran out of time.
Perfect.
So, tell us about yourself.
So my name's Travis. I've lived a lot of life. I found this podcast through it was either a Discord group or something where you would post it oh, I'm looking for guests, and I said I fit the vibe because I have unhinged ADHD, and I think that I don't know if anyone could benefit from my story, but I'm willing, if anyone can, I'm down to share it. Worked in finance for a really long time, and I realized I hated it to the point where I actually had a stroke. And we'll get into that, I'm sure, during the interview.
Yes, and another weirdness about you hating it and what you're doing now, but we'll get into that.
Yeah. Um, and so I've lived a lot of life over the last 28 years, and I guess I'm down to see where the vibe takes us here.
Well, here's what I'll say about your comment that you don't know if anybody can get. If we can't learn from each other something, then as listeners, we're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Right? That's how
Yeah.
I feel. I feel like we can, everybody, even just the talking is learning.
Well, so that's the thing. Emma and I were talking about this recently. Where you have the entire world right here. It doesn't stop, and I think that there's a lot of really cool things that come along with that. I think a lot about my Uncle Roy, for instance, who loved technology. I hate that he was gone before he got to see the invention of Chat GPT, and because he would have loved it. He would have chatted with that all day long. And then like we have so much information, and there's no excuse anymore to say I'm ignorant to X, Y, or Z. But along with that comes almost a wall that comes up, and I love it and I hate it. It's hard. Yeah.
It's too much because conversation and too much information. I don't think that our brains are built to handle as much information as is coming at us. And so I think even though all of that information is there, we're living our lives and we're viewing other people's lives in 30-second clips. And so while we have these opportunities, better opportunities to learn about other people, our attention span, the information is growing, the availability is growing, and our attention span is shrinking. That goes into one thing I was going to ask you about from Baby Onions and Anna Wintour, if that's how you say it, the move
Yeah.
from perfection to real, and what people say they want. I think that was a comment that Emma made. People want real now more than they want perfection.
Right.
But number one, does anybody really know what real is anymore? Because do we really share, do most of us share real, or do we share the highlight reel?
Well, so that's good. I like that. So that's a good question, because I've thought about this a lot recently too, where we're living in an age of fast fashion, and what is the new trend on TikTok, and what is the new sheen that we want to put on something. And we're living in the age of the Kardashians and everything else. And I think for some people maybe that is real. And I struggle with that a little bit, because for context, the episode, just for the listeners, the episode you're talking about from my podcast, Emma and I were talking about how Anna Wintour, after 34, 36 years, is stepping down as the editor in chief of Vogue. And she has taken Vogue and Condé Nast as a whole, really as a media conglomerate, and really pushed it in a direction that it is real fashion, like what you think of fashion. And like I think, with the changing of the guards at Vogue, you're seeing like, oh, that doesn't exist anymore, right? Like it's all fast fashion. It's all very like, what is the new thing? And I think, for better or worse, is it real? I don't know, but is it the reality we're living in? Yes. And like, I think for me, the question is, how do we make the best of it? What was it? Oh, it's something that you and I talked about. Is I have an obsession with the Real Housewives, and anyone that ever listens to Bestie Approved will hear like, or that is like my hyperfixation. I love the Real Housewives, and something Andy Cohen, who is like the like godfather of the Housewives, if you will, he's talked a lot about like when he brings a housewife on, the real determining factor of if they're going to do well or not is A, do they have real connections to the group? Is it real friendships? And B, are they showing their authentic selves? Because the audience can see right through that. And I think there's a game recognizing game there where it's like, I recognize that you're not being authentic. And I think that transcends into culture, like what you're talking about here, where like, is any of this real? Like, or what are we doing here? And I think it's a good question. So I don't know if it's real. Like, I don't know.
Here was the other question that popped into my head when y'all were talking about that is, do most people really know what they want, or are they wanting what they're being told they want?
So that's another really good question. And I got to, I'm not the expert on that because
I know, it's just so fun. I'm listening to y'all talk about it, and I was like, I like conversations like that make me think beyond
yeah,
surface level. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Well, I mean, that's the thing is I know for a fact that I'm not the expert on that. And I think that is kind of where we're living in, this era of consumerism. I think it's the Lululemons of the world and the TikToks of the world, like telling us what we want. And like, do some of us want it? Sure. Is it working on some of us? Maybe. But how much of that is like being told what you want, and how much of that is really like, oh, this is genuinely what I want and I love this. And I think there is some middle ground there in that Venn diagram of like, oh, someone launched this product and I love it. I being told exactly what I want. Like there's some overlap there, right?
There is overlap.
Yeah, I don't know though. I know that I am very susceptible to marketing though.
Another thing too is where it's a little bit gray is you don't necessarily know you want something until it's made available. And again,
Sure.
that goes to the marketing, being
Yeah.
susceptible to it. And so, yeah, I can see that. Y'all also talked about in that episode, this is where I discovered that I heart Emma. You owe everyone grace and basic human decency, she said at one point. And I was like, oh.
Oh, is this when we were talking about Jen from The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives?
Could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been. And let's have a real moment here. I was trying to keep up with y'all and all that. I don't watch any of that. I had no idea what y'all were talking about for 90% of it.
Here. It's okay.
I just don't.
It's okay.
I can't get into it. I don't have the attention span for it, number one. But I used to. What is a show that I used to watch that I got really... Survivor.
Okay.
Oh, and Big Brother when it first started. But then after that, I don't know. It made me think about our conversation about friendship, and you asked if my problem with it is getting overwhelmed. I think you're right, because shows like that overwhelm me. And
Okay.
even listening to y'all talk about it overwhelmed me. I mean,
Okay.
it was weird because it's like I wanted so badly to be a part of a conversation like that, but also at the same time I was like, I can't keep up. I'm really drained. And I think that's the same way it is with friendships. I want it so badly, but I don't know how to not let myself get overwhelmed by all of it.
That's fair. No, I get that. And I think what you're experiencing, I think a lot of people, to be fair, like I think it takes a very specific subset of people to be very obsessed with like reality TV. I think like and I'm gonna be very real with you. And I are two people that live for drama. Like we love the drama. We love mess. We love all of it. And
Well, I noticed though that y'all have different ideas of drama because there was a couple times where she said that she doesn't watch something that you watch.
she watches Love Island, and I can't get into
That's
Love
what it
Island.
is.
Yeah,
That's what it is. You were like, I can't get it.
right. And I think that's another one of those things where it's I don't know what's real there. Like I don't. It's a group of people that come together. Like, and this is from like the 30 minutes total that I've watched of this series. It's a group of people that like are put on an island, and it started in the UK. Now it's like it's made its way over to the United States, and it is TikTok and Instagram influencers that are trying to like find love, and they end up just hooking up with each other, which is cool. Love that for them. Like, God bless. And it doesn't feel like anything ever comes out of it. And I think there was like one relationship that ended up happening, and like it just feels like they're on there for the show, if nothing else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then want to cry because they didn't find love or because
Yeah.
something that every normal thinking human could have told them was going to happen happens.
It feels like you knew what you were signing up for. Now you're pretending like you don't know what you're signing up for. Like,
Right. Yeah. So I have enjoyed listening to y'all's conversations about that.
okay,
Don't understand most of what y'all are saying.
that's
But
okay.
it's
Like,
cool listening to you talk about it.
well, and that's the thing is like I think that's part of the reason that we do it, because I have a lot of friends that don't watch the Real Housewives, but they talk about like seeing it through my eyes, because I love it. I love the Real Housewives, and I think part of it is like I got into it and I mean after like a pretty rough time in my life, and it got me out of a depression, and I was just like, oh my God, like this is like I love these women. I love these women that put it all out there, that are messy, that are like, that will fight, that will like do it all. And like, I've had people tell me like when they see it through my eyes, it's kind of entertaining just to like see it through my eyes. And I think that's part of the reason why we like get into the recaps the way we do. Do I think we're ever going to be like the Brav Bros or like Sexy Unique podcast, or these like big monstrous like people that have made livings recapping these shows? Maybe, I don't know, but like I love it, and I'm having fun with it.
Well, and that's where, for me, success is defined, no matter where it goes. You're having fun with it.
Yeah.
You love it. That's success, no matter what you're doing, in my opinion. And I love listening to y'all talk. I really
Thanks.
do. You can
Thank you.
tell that y'all are tight. You know what I mean? You can
Yeah.
hear the love. You can hear the realness between you, because there were a couple times where it was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay, I love you anyway, bud. You know, and y'all just kind of seem to let each other be themselves.
Well, and I think that's kind of how our friendship started. I mean, we met each other. So Emma had just graduated college. We both worked at a financial firm. We're going to leave names out of it because I don't feel like catching a case today. We both worked at an investment firm. I think we both recognized in each other that we hated it, and like it was almost like trauma bonding at a certain point when we like kind of got through we don't have to like really pretend we like our jobs. It's like, oh, like I get to know you. I get to like know this person, and I like this person, and that was really cool. And like it was our friendship. That's just kind of what it's all based on. Is like there's no bullshit there. Like we see each other, we meet each other where we're at, and you hear a lot of that, I think, come out. Like, and I mean, and we'll get into whatever stories you want to get into, but like that's just us. That's just our friendship.
Well, I know you said that y'all talk like FaceTime first thing in the morning for hours.
Yeah.
Is there ever, or has there been yet, a morning where one of you is just not in the mood and just doesn't want to talk? And if so, or if not, but if it did happen, do you think the other person's feelings would get hurt?
I mean, yeah, there's mornings where like we've both been in this place where it's just like we're just not in the mood, like we're not in a good mood, because like I mean, so the first thing, almost every morning without fail, one of us will pick up the phone and FaceTime the other one, like without fail. And we've both said I mean, it doesn't happen often because like neither one of us ever shuts up. But like there have been mornings where I'm just like, oh, like I just want to go back to bed. Like I'm gonna take to the bed, I'm gonna roll back over, and I'm gonna go to sleep. And like no, like it doesn't hurt the other person's feelings because like we also like we both know each other well enough to know like oh, if she's saying that, if he's saying that, like he just wants to go to bed. Like it's okay.
I love that. Okay, a couple things else from that episode I want to talk about.
Yeah,
Swimming. You're learning how to swim.
yeah.
I love that because my husband doesn't know how to swim, and that
Okay.
like kills my soul because I'm a water baby. Like I'm one of those people. I will never die by drowning because it's physically impossible for me to drown because I float. Number one.
Sure.
And I've been in water as long as I can remember. And so, number one, why are you just now learning how to swim?
Okay.
And two, do you like it?
So one, I was raised primarily by my grandparents. And my granny had, and I love her to death. Like she's amazing in every single way. Like she was terrified to like let us out of her sight. She also never learned how to swim. So like, I think the idea of like throwing me into a body of water and her not knowing like, oh, I can't just like grab him was a real deterrent for her to like let me like learn how to swim. And I was like, I was never afraid of it. Like it wasn't ever a big deal. But, and like I could always like doggy paddle or whatever. Like that was never like whatever. But there just came a day one day where like I was like at the pool with some of my friends. Like they were like doing like the real like I don't even know what they're called. Like they were just swimming. Like yeah. Yeah. And I was like, oh, how did you learn how to do that? And they were like, we took swimming lessons. And I was like, I never knew how to do that. Like, so I just decided one day, like I was at Lifetime working out, and I was like, I'm going to figure out how to swim. And then like I watched a YouTube video, and then I went up to the lifeguard and I was like, hey, it's going to look like I'm flailing for a little bit. Please don't save me. And then and I'm teaching myself how to swim. And how do I like it? It's cool. Like it's a really good workout. Like I had no idea how great of a workout it is. And it's also like gratifying, like teaching myself how to do something. Like I'm finding that a lot in life. Like I really like learning. Like as I sit here at my school's library, I love learning. And there's like a weird, no, I don't know if satisfaction is the word, but like there's like a piece of self-fulfillment that comes out of like with teaching I say teaching myself how to swim. Like YouTube's teaching me how to swim. Like sitting down and figuring out how to edit a podcast. Like any of these things, it's really cool because it's like, oh my God, what else am I capable of? Like that's kind of cool. Like
it is cool. It is cool. Well, I'm glad to know that you're not afraid of water. My husband almost drowned when he was like 12, so he's terrified of water.
That's traumatic. Yeah,
it is traumatic. And the house we, knock on wood, hopefully close on today, the purchaser selling.
Yay.
We had a pool.
Okay.
And fortunately, I think the deepest part was 5 foot. But our first summer there, it was getting him in was like, no ma'am. No ma'am. And now, last summer, every weekend, we were in that pool. He still can't swim, but he's not afraid of it anymore.
That's huge. That's amazing.
And now he's like, we don't have a pool anymore. Yeah, so I thought that was really cool. It's not very often you hear about adults talking about learning how to swim. So I was like, oh, I have to talk to him about that.
Yeah.
There was something else I made a note about. Well, before we get too far,
whatever you want.
Let's back up to your stroke and where you're at now in terms of your life and how you got here, what you're doing.
Okay. So where we started, how I got here. So like I said, Emma and I worked together at a pretty large investment firm. We both left and we went to a much smaller firm where we shared an office together, and both also hated what we did. Like we just, working in finance wasn't for us. We did not enjoy it. And I was sitting in my office one day, and this isn't to say anything about like the people I worked with. Like the people were amazing. Like it was just the industry. Like some jobs just aren't for some people, and that's okay. But I was sitting in my office with Emma, and I remember like feeling half of my body go completely numb, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm so busy. Like I can't deal with this right now. And like I intellectually I knew what was happening and I just didn't want to deal with it. So I remember turning to Emma and I said, hey, I have a question. And she turns around and she immediately, like, I saw her face and I was like, oh, it has to be bad. And like, come to find out, I was only talking out of like this side of my mouth. Like, I'm only talking out of the right side of my mouth. And I can like look back on it and laugh because like it ended up being fine. Like, I mean, I got to the hospital, everything was fine, whatever. You can't kill evil that easy. And I look at her and I was like, do you think I'm having a stroke right now? And she like she like is already grabbing her purse and she's like, I think you're the only person that can answer that question. But
I love that response.
But she's like, let's just go to the hospital. Let's just see what happens. And if you listen to the first couple episodes of our podcast, you will hear like this story in all its glory. But we worked in downtown Indy. She gets up to tell our friends Jeremy and Skyly, like, hey, I'm taking Travis to the hospital. He's having a stroke. And she couldn't have been gone more than 30 seconds. I made my way to my car and drove myself to the hospital. I get to the hospital, like I walk in and like listen to the podcast, like because the story is much funnier than I'm giving it. Like, I'm giving it credit for. But I remember like getting into the hospital and I like said to the woman at the desk, I was like, hey, I don't know if I'm having a stroke right now. And yeah, like, it was very that. And like the woman stands up and she goes, like the test that they do, if you like walk yourself into a hospital, into an emergency room, they make you close your eyes, put both of your hands out in front of you and like wait for the next steps. And apparently my left arm starts drifting downwards. And she goes, sit down in a wheelchair right now. And like the panic there, that's like when I started to panic. And I was just like, oh, this is happening. Like, what do I do? So take me back to emergency critical care space, whatever you call it, where they took me where people that have strokes go. And they gave me whatever medicine they give stroke people. And like, I was fine. Probably 2 hours later is like when I started like getting to the point where like I could function like a normal person. And then they were like, let's have him stay overnight. It was that night in the ICU is kind of where I realized like, oh, I don't love where my life is right now. Like I'm working in finance, I'm making really good money and I'm just not fulfilled. And that's where it came back to for me was it's not about money right now. And so I said, I am gonna go finish grad school. I'm gonna take the LSAT. I'm going to apply to law school, which I'm in the process of studying for the LSAT now. I'm gonna do things that like I enjoy doing. I acknowledge that I'm in a very privileged space to be able to say like, oh, I have a pretty good amount of savings and I can be comfortable coasting on that for a little bit. Like, and I know not everyone has that ability. So like, I know I'm so lucky to be able to do that. And I'm so lucky to be able to say like, yeah, I had a stroke and I was fine the next day. Like there's a lot of like
you
boxes.
Don't ever feel guilty about that.
No, I don't. I feel very like privileged and lucky. And like, I was just like, I got a second chance. Like I really like, I get to look back on all that and say like, how many people can say like, oh, I went through one of the most horrific health outcomes that someone can have. And that was like a turning point for me, you know? So I left finance and that's kind of how we got here. I had time to start a podcast. I'm doing the grad school thing and that's how we're here.
Let's talk about real quick though what your grad school is about now before law school. You got out of finance and what are you getting?
Well, so I'm getting my master's in finance, and
I just think that's so funny. But I'm not laughing at you. I just think it's cute.
No, and it is because like when I tell people that, like I did not enjoy like the salesy part of finance. I did not enjoy the like the
that particular job, but there's so much more to finance than that.
But like I love the markets. I love the market mechanics. I love like understanding how like the buy and sell sides of like investments work. I love that. And I mean eventually like if I'm being really realistic, like once I finish law school, that's probably the area I will end up in, like somewhere in securities law, somewhere in that world.
Just from a different vantage point.
Yeah, but so like to say that I hate the financial industry, that wasn't fair. I loved part of the financial industry. I did not love what I was doing.
Okay. So, do you think, going back to your privilege comment, do you think that even if you weren't in financial position to do what you're doing now, do you think you still would have left? Do you think?
I don't know. Like that's the thing is like I think for a really long time I lied to myself and said like I'm fine. Like I can check the boxes. Like I can not suffer through it, but like I can like people do jobs all the time that they don't like, right?
Right.
I think that forcing myself to have a wake up call, like where I literally had a stroke at a job that I hated, I was like, I'm not going back there. Like I don't want to do it.
Right. Right. Do
Yeah.
you have any? So I'm assuming you're at higher risk for future strokes.
So this was the thing with that. When I was talking to the neurologist, he told me that there is no reason that I should have had the stroke. Like he said, like it was probably beyond the long and short of it is beyond the shadow of a doubt. Basically, is what I can't remember his exact wording, but he said there's not a doubt in my mind that this was stress induced, and that he's like you were as healthy as like the healthiest guy we've had in the ICU in a really long time. So he's like, you shouldn't have had a stroke. So I hope I'm not at a higher risk for it. I mean,
Do you have any complications left over from it?
no, I like that's the thing. I was fine like the next day. Like, and that's the wild thing. Like I was tired for a couple of days afterwards because of the medicine that they gave me, but like I was fine. Like I could have gotten up and walked out of the ICU that night, like as far as I was concerned.
How long ago was this?
This was June of last year. No, I'm sorry. It was the weekend before the week before July 4th. So the end of June. Yeah.
Okay, so it's fresh-ish.
Ish. Yeah.
Okay. So your ADHD is older than that then.
Much older. Yeah.
Okay. When did you get
So,
all this
so
stuff? Tell us about your ADHD.
ADHD, like, so I was a wild kid. Like, that's the thing is like, there's never a point in my life that I can point to and say like, oh yeah, that's when it developed. Like it's just always been like my baseline, right? Every single teacher I ever had growing up was always said like, yeah, he's a delight to have in class. He just never shuts the hell up. Like he like I mean, I guess in kindergarten I don't remember this, but like I like because there are like big parts of my childhood that I just like do not remember. But like I guess my like when I was in kindergarten, like I would stand up on the chair and just start like reciting like "To Be or Not to Be" from Shakespeare, like because I was stupid. I don't know. At this point, I was in I think fourth or fifth grade, and my brother was in first or second grade at this point, and my dad was still pretty involved in like in us going like in most of our lives. He went to a parent teacher conference for like the way they were scheduled, like mine was first and then my brother's was like a half hour after mine. And I remember him coming home and being so furious because the teachers both that day said to him like, hey, Travis needs to go be evaluated for ADHD. Like he is going to have a very hard time as time goes on. And they said to my dad, like, about my brother, your son probably needs to get evaluated for being on the autism. I don't think they called it the autism spectrum yet. I think they just said, like, get him evaluated for autism because this was like early, like 1990, 2000-ish.
It was Asperger's then, probably. If they weren't talking. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. But like, I remember my dad coming home and being so mad. Come to find out, he told the teachers, like, until it becomes a problem, until they start, like, performing poorly academically, like, I don't want to talk about it. And on one hand, I can really appreciate that because I'm like, he wanted us to, like, navigate life and figure out how to navigate life without, like, I think he thought of them as crutches, but he was also Gen X. And like, I know like it was a very weird thing for them to talk about like mental health and like anything. And like,
Yes, and it still is.
yeah. And he's gotten so much better about it. Like, bless his heart, like he has come so far and like he can say like he can see where he made mistakes, but he said like he doesn't know that he would do anything differently. And that's kind of just where at a certain point you just have to say like I just had to trust his judgment, like whatever. And like I never knew that I was different And that's kind of the thing, is like, I think he was very intentional about that, where he was just like, and I say like I don't know a kid today that doesn't have ADHD, so like I don't know that I was different, but like I do know that most of my life I was told like, hey, you're not applying yourself, you're not better than this, like, and I think I had a complex about that growing up, like really bad, because I was just like, well, what's wrong with me? What, like, why am I so stupid? And like, and then I got to college, and I remember sitting in a lecture hall at IU in Bloomington, and I was like, I knew I could conceptualize what the professor was talking about. I knew I could understand it, and I knew that I would go back home and I would read for hours and hours and hours on end. And I was just like, why can I not get this? Like, why can I not sit down and just like function? And so I went to my doctor, and I was just like, hey, like, what's good? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, or, like, refer me to someone, because like I know I'm smart and like something is not connecting. And my doctor just looks at me and she goes, oh my God, has no one ever told you you have ADHD? And she was like so straightforward about it. And I was like, how do you know? And she's like, well, you're sitting here
Well,
and
have
you
you
can't.
met yourself, Travis?
Yeah,
I'm just
like,
kidding.
that was the thing. Is like, no, but like that's exactly basically what she said. And she was just like, you can't sit still. Like, she was like you're a classic case of ADHD. And she goes, and she kind of affirmed a lot of what my dad said. She's like, we do like to see like if kids can kind of navigate the world by themselves. We like to let adults make decisions for themselves. Like, and I don't know what the right answer is, and I'm going to just tell everyone listening right now, I know medication might not be the answer for everyone. Like, I know there are a lot of feelings about ADHD medication. It was right for me, and like, if it's right for you, I want you to be on it. If it's not right for you, I want you to do whatever outlook works best for you. I do know that like ADHD medication literally changed my life though. And like,
Well, that's one thing I wanted to talk about, because we had vastly different experiences. And I just had another girl that I talked to on the podcast the other day.
yeah,
She has a really good experience. I had a bad experience, not in that it didn't help me, because it did. I couldn't overcome the physical side effects.
see, that's hard for some people too. And like, I hate when I hear that, because like, I come from like, it's so annoying, because I'm just like, I don't have like negative side effects to literally any medicine. I'm just like, oh yeah, like if there's a pill for it, I'll take it. I don't care.
Well, you walked out of a stroke.
Well, and that's the thing. It's just like, oh yeah, no, like if I take whatever medicine, I'm fine. Like whatever. Like people that are like, oh yeah, I couldn't sleep on Adderall. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that. And I'm like, oh, I slept like a baby.
No, mine was none of that. Mine was in this. Think it's tied to the autism and the sensory sensitivities, and you might understand what I'm talking about. I could feel my skin. Like, I was hyper
Yeah.
aware of my skin on my body all the time, and I
Got it.
couldn't. And I also have OCD, and so I couldn't get past it, because I was
Okay.
constantly aware of how my skin felt on my body. And I got off of it, and I've done fine. I'm no longer doing fine, and haven't been. And so I think it's time I try again. There's so many new ones.
Well, and that, yeah, like that's the cool thing. And my therapist has talked a lot about this too, where she has, when she's working with people with ADHD, she says like sometimes it's trial and error. And my doctor's told me the same thing, where like I'm one of the very few lucky individuals who like I found like the first medicine I took just worked, and like that's just worked forever, right? And I know like you're probably gonna get comments. It's like it's not good to be on that forever, like what? And I'm like, okay, well, here we are.
As long as it's working for you, whatever. When I got my autism diagnosis, the psychologist knew about my trouble with medicine, and she suggested that I get genetic testing done, because that
Okay.
can help them determine which medicines will work better for you.
Interesting.
I'm going to look into doing that, because we all change, but I'm
Sure.
a woman who is 50, menopause.
Well,
I'm not who I was 10 years ago.
that,
You know what
but
I mean?
also like, first of all, ADHD and autism does present itself very differently, but they both present very differently in women than they do guys. And the medicine also, like, biologically works differently in women than it does guys. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Also, I'm gonna open this. Sorry. I didn't want to like do that one.
No, you have. I'm sitting here, I've drank this whole thing, and I'm like, how do people just sit and not drink? I drink constantly. Constantly.
I don't know.
Always thirsty. I did the whole podcast with my friend the other day, and she didn't take a sip, and I'm just always thirsty.
It's okay.
Any other mental health things that you're comfortable talking about?
Oh yeah, I don't care. I don't have boundaries. Fine. So I think like talking with my brother, like he's very matter of fact about a lot of this, but I'm just like, oh yeah, like I think like we both check a lot of the boxes for autism, and I don't maybe I do have it, maybe I don't, and I think I took this from my brother where he's just like, so what if we do? I know that that's not the answer for a lot of people, because for a lot of people it is not a barrier to overcome, but it's something that you have to figure out how to navigate, right? And if I do check any of the boxes, like it has to be like very on the very shallow end of the spectrum. So like if I do have anything else, and I don't know that I care that I do either. Like I think it's just like one of those things
that's not impacting your life so much that you feel like you need to do something about it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and the only reason I ever did was just this talking issue that I have, and how my words are so disconnected, and I stumble over my words, and I went through a period where I was trying to figure out why that happened, and then I fell into anyway. For me, it just gave me not necessarily an excuse or anything, but it gave me a reason why all of these things that I've struggled with during my life. Why? That was
you connected the dots for you.
Huh?
You connected the dots for you.
Yeah. And it was strictly for knowledge, because not that I don't have struggles, and not that I don't think that a lot of the things in this world need to change to support even people like me, but the bigger issue is the lack of support for people who are higher needs. That's the part that keeps me awake at night. You know what I mean?
Well, no, and I totally get that, because I have a cousin who, and again, this is coming from a family who really did not talk about this kind of stuff growing up. And my dad is really like the first person, like Gen X grouping in my family that is like okay, like understanding and navigating and talking about some of this stuff. But I think back to my great aunt, my granny's sister, who had before she passed, had a son who lived with her until he was 38, and he's on the autism spectrum, and she never got him diagnosed. And if you think it's difficult trying to get a child treated for autism, trying to get an adult treated for autism who isn't is high needs in some areas but not others, it is I don't know how people do it. And I'm I don't understand. The system is so hard to navigate, for someone who is completely normal's not the word, but neurotypical. Right. And it's so hard for someone that has no issues to navigate. For someone who has autism that creates different needs for someone, I don't know how anyone is supposed to do it. And it took years and years to get him to a place where it was okay, how do we get him to in a place where he can live without his mom there? How do we do any of this? And I get it. It's hard. It's really hard.
Yes, our system is, lack of system. I don't even know that we can call what we have a system. It's chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos across the board. Across the whole health and mental health is just a disaster. And in my opinion, there ain't one country that's got it right. Because everybody talks about, let's do it this way, and then I listen to people from that country talking about how theirs is, and it's so horrible. And
I think this is where it starts to get muddy, right? And Emma and I talk about this on the podcast too, where I know that my previous experience with as far as jobs go. Like it was as capitalistic as it gets. But like if I'm being 100% honest, like I'm basically a socialist. And like I think that like in the most advanced country in the world, in the wealthiest country in the world, like we have to be able to figure out some combination of a system that like benefits people that need assistance with healthcare and still benefits the people developing drugs to like encourage innovation. Like I get both the arguments, and now's not the place for it, but like I struggle with this because I'm just like, if anyone can do it, like we have the greatest minds in the world here, why can't we figure this out? And like I have found myself getting more political because of this issue, because I'm just like, we're surrounded by people. There's not a man, woman, or child on the face of this earth that doesn't need healthcare. Like, what are we doing?
Nothing but bickering.
Yeah. And it's bizarre to me because I'm just like, it shouldn't be a question. Like it's the same way I feel about like kids eating. It's the same way I feel about any number of these things where I'm just like, how is this really a thing you're willing to fight about? Like, actually, like this is the hill you're going to die on. Okay.
Well, look, I'll talk about politics for a minute, because it's one thing I said is I would never talk about politics on here, but you said something that triggered something in me. You're getting more political because of, as am I. I used to be hyper political.
Okay.
Hyper. And I was raised far, 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 far right. So, and then it almost destroyed my brain at one point. And so I had to turn it off. It was consuming me. And so I turned it off. And now that I'm older and have different life experiences, I'm not far left. I'm in the worst spot because both sides hate me. I am so dead center. It's disgusting because I see both sides, because I was raised on the right and I see how wrong it is, but I also know how much on the left is also just as wrong in a different way. And so now because of all this healthcare stuff, I'm getting back into it, and it's making me so angry because I'm like, this is what they want. They want me and you sitting here arguing over who is right. None of them have our best interest at heart. Number one, in power. No one in power.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is like, if you read some of the legislation that's making its way through Congress right now, it doesn't benefit you and me. And that's the hard part. And this is the thing that I struggle with, is just like, what are we voting for? And this is like where, I mean, anyone watching right now, it's anyone's guess who I voted for. I'm sure it's going to be so hard to figure out. I mean, like, I don't want to be the person pointing at the right and saying like, oh, you're wrong about everything. Cause like, and this is the thing is like, someone who's super far left probably looks at me and says like, oh, he's problematic because he still believes in some form of capitalism or whatever. Like, I don't know, like whatever the case may be, but like, it's all a spectrum, right? And like, I think at some point we all have to say like, we all have, no matter where you fall on the spectrum, we all have to accept that like other people have good ideas that they're bringing to the table. And we have to take the best of that and build what this country's capable of, because this whole idea of like pointing at the right and screaming MAGA, 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 and like pointing at the left and screaming the Clinton crime family, it's not working anymore. And we have to accept that at the end of the day, like what we're doing now is simply not working.
Right.
And
I think we're fighting over the wrong things.
Right. And this is the thing where I've brought up my dad like a million times. Like he grew up very, very far right. And like, thinking back to the first Bush administration, like, I mean, he'll be very open about like why he voted for George W. Bush. And it was for not the best reasons. Like, let's just call it what it is. And he's come to a place where he's like, oh no, like I've woken up and like, I'm not like, I don't want to do that anymore. And so he's not liberal by any stretch of the imagination. I'd call him more centrist than anything, or like if we're going to put a word to it, realistically, probably libertarian. He's
making movement. He's opening his eyes to.
And he's also said a million times, like he goes, I have 5 kids, like between him and my stepmom, they have 5 kids. He's got 2 gay kids, and 4 of us are probably as liberal as anyone's ever seen. And he's like, I wouldn't change any of you for the world. And like, he goes, and this is what a lot of the world has to get on board with, is you can't change people, so you have to figure out how to make it all work.
And yeah, so I can feel my heartbeat. Right. Fun stuff. That's not a bone to pick with you. You trashed by M Dash in your AI episode, Smurf Hormones, when y'all were talking about AI. Y'all called it the long dash. You hate the M Dash.
I think it's ugly.
I love the M Dash, and now I feel like I can't use it anymore. No.
Like, I want you to use it. I don't know I guess I don't know the difference between that and a regular dash.
It's an expansion of an idea, basically.
Okay.
No, and it's not your comment why I feel like I can't use it anymore. That's what everybody says. Hey, I wrote that if you use an M dash. And that has always been one of my favorites. And now I'm like, really? AI?
Use it. Like, use
I've
it.
started using it again because
Good.
I'm a rebel at heart.
Do it.
So I'm like, criticize me. Go ahead. This is my M dash.
Good.
I love listening to y'all talk about that AI episode. That was.
I love that.
I had some opinions on that. You have a love-hate relationship with it.